Welcome to the General Audit Management Speaker Preview. I'm Shannon Steffi, Senior Editor for Internal Auditor Magazine. Today I'm speaking to Charlie Wright, Vice President of Internal Audit at Devon Energy, who is presenting two sessions at the 2016 GAM Conference in Dallas-Fort Worth, Texas, March 7th through 9th. The first is Clarifying the Role of Internal Audit in Enterprise Risk Management, and the second is Strategies for Marketing Yourself for a Seat on the Board. Charlie oversees internal audit activities at one of the world's leading independent oil and gas exploration and production companies. Prior to joining Devon in 2005, he served as General Auditor at American Airlines. Hi, Charlie. Thank you for joining us.
Hi, Shannon. It's good to be with you today.
How does the three lines of defense governance model tie into ERM?
Well, to answer that, you first have to understand the three lines of defense model. It's really quite simple. The first line of defense owns the risks and owns the controls responsible for managing those risks, and that's really the direct management team that's out there, individuals throughout your organization. The second line of defense is the management team, and in many cases, some functions who have expertise in certain areas, such as legal or insurance or other kind of control-oriented groups, and they provide a monitoring function. And the third line of defense is, of course, internal audit. We provide the assurance function. So whenever you think about that model, the three lines of defense model, it's really related to managing risks and managing risks throughout the organization. And enterprise risk management is a method to pull all of that stuff together. So whenever you look at the three lines of defense model and try to understand what is the role of the managers and these expertise functions and internal audit related to ERM, that's what I'm going to talk about in my presentation and try to clarify a lot of misconceptions related to the roles of internal audit and the roles of those management and oversight groups.
Can you touch on one or two strengths and weaknesses of the Venn diagram?
Yeah, the Venn diagram, it is a great valuable benefit that we've got in the profession, because in 2004, the UK and Ireland Institutes created a document that shows what are the roles of internal audit related to ERM, what kinds of things can we do with some safeguards, and what kind of things should we not do? And it's very helpful to lay that out in an organized fashion. The opportunities to improve that would just be that it needs to be updated. And I think in particular, the profession really needs to calibrate the language that we're using in that Venn and get more detailed about what language we use, what words we use, and clarify a lot of those roles, because there's still a lot of confusion out there, and I hope to go through some of that in my presentation.
Now, what value does internal audit bring to the table related to ERM?
Well, internal audit is in a fabulous position to be able to help with ERM. We see all parts of the company. We're already risk-oriented individuals. We are control-oriented individuals. We think about the business in terms of risks and controls and how we're managing different types of activities around the organization. We bring this big, broad perspective of internal audit to the picture as well. And so we're really ideally positioned to be able to help the management team to understand really what they're doing to manage controls. And then we can come in on the back end and provide an assurance function. Now, one of the big opportunities there is that I'd like to try to start to clarify what that assurance function is, because a lot of activities that internal auditors do today, things like doing documentation of the ERM process, performing surveys of management, trying to prioritize and understand the company's risks. Those activities are things that we do in all of our audits. And it's valuable and helpful to do that for ERM as well. However, there's a lot of confusion of some individuals saying that, well, we shouldn't be doing some of that work because it's kind of infringing on our independence and objectivity to get into those realms. But I would propose that those are the exact things that we ought to be doing, and we're very well positioned to be able to add value to the organization through that.
How can internal auditors best position themselves for board roles?
Well, this presentation is going to be a pretty interesting discussion. I think that as auditors continue in their career path, that as you get toward the management roles, you start to get toward the end of your career, and you start looking for what am I going to do next, or how can I grow next, or how can I continue to progress my career next. One of the things that a lot of people think about is serving on boards of directors. Now, there's a lot of opportunities out there related to nonprofit boards, but there are also paid positions on public and private boards. And I think that there There are a lot of auditors out there who are very well skilled, very well qualified to function as board members, and we're going to talk about that process.
What do you think is the single best way to market yourself?
Well, clearly it's networking. I mean, board members are identified and selected based on who you know and what your contacts are. So one of the big things we'll talk about is networking, networking, networking. Now, you've also got to be qualified for certain board roles. You've got to understand what the expectations are. You've got to have a certain set of skills and be able to contribute in a value-added way. But really, the number one way to prepare yourself is to network and let people know that you're interested.
If attendees are not ready or interested in a board role, what will they learn from this presentation?
Well, we're going to talk about marketing yourself. We're going to talk about building relationships. We're going to talk about the networking aspects. We're going to talk about resume building. All those things are very important for every person's career, whether you're an entry-level auditor, mid-level in your career, or in the chief audit executive role. These things are going to be helpful for anyone who wants to come through and listen to a few new and different ideas about those things.
Thank you for giving us an overview of your session today, Charlie. We look forward to seeing you in Dallas.
Thank you, Shannon. I appreciate the opportunity. I look forward to seeing you as well.